Hey everyone, welcome back to the ATD Movie Channel on YouTube. I'm back with another movie news tidbit today, and this is a big one. This has ramifications and implications that will change the movie landscape forever. That's how big this news is. Now, the rumor is, and I have to use the word rumor because it's not official, right? So the rumor is that Disney is looking to buy a huge chunk of 21st Century Fox. And what does that mean? That means that Fox, which has a whole bunch of different divisions, sports, news, film, TV, is looking to sell off a huge chunk to Disney. That would include all of its movies and its TV production. Now, as a nerd and as a superhero movie buff, the immediate implication is that Marvel would regain control of pretty much all of their superhero rights, except for Spider-Man, who's over at Sony. They're already in a shared agreement on that character. Essentially, Marvel would own or be in control of every one of their characters. Now, that's just sort of like the initial reaction to this news. And that doesn't even include all of the other characters and all of the other properties that Fox owns. And I'm going to talk a little bit about all of those top properties in a minute. So again, the way that it's going to work is, if this is true and if this goes through, there's four divisions: sports, news, TV, and movies. The TV and the movies would go to Disney, and Fox just wants to focus its efforts on news and sports. Now, it's hard to even call this a rumor because the stock market reacted to this rumor really positively. Like, shares of both Disney and Fox had an effect, a positive effect. Disney stocks jumped 2%, $2, and ended the day at trading at over $100 a share by what we're calling a rumor because it's not official. So again, this is huge movie news that will forever change the film landscape, not just because of Marvel and not just because of superheroes. That's a big hot trend right now, but it's not forever. So I have a list, according to Box Office Mojo, of the top Fox distributed or Fox studio films in history. And you're going to be surprised by some of the names on here because Fox may have been responsible for the distribution. They may not have been the one that was producing it. So it's kind of misleading, but this list is a Fox released top 100. I'll just go through a couple of them just to give you an idea. So obviously number one is Avatar, which is also the number one grossing film of all time. And then two is Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, which again is a Disney Marvel product, Disney Marvel Lucasfilm property, but they did the distribution. Revenge of the Sith is number 3. Deadpool is number 4. And again, the rights to Deadpool would go to Marvel if this deal happens. Star Wars, I believe that's Episode 4, is number 5. Independence Day would go to Disney. Star Wars again, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones would go to Disney. Home Alone is still a top 10 grossing film of all time for Fox. That would go to Disney, and it would probably have a pretty good home there, no pun intended. Return of the Jedi, that's another Star Wars property. That's another Disney Marvel Lucasfilms. And then X-Men The Last Stand, X-Men Days of Future Past, Castaway, The Martian is relatively new. Logan, Wolverine, the character of Wolverine will go back to Marvel. And then it gets into a little more diluted type stuff like Alvin and the Chipmunks. That would go to Disney. Mrs. Doubtfire's number 17 on the list. That was kind of surprising for me. 17 all time for Fox. Alvin and the Chipmunks, the first film. X-Men 2, X-Men United is number 19. And The Empire Strikes Back is number 20. I'll give you 21 and 22 just for example's sake. 21 is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which is the rebooted franchise that we just got another episode of this year. And then the Ice Age Dawn of the Dinosaurs film. I think that's the third or the fourth one. I'm not sure anymore, but that's number 22 on the list. So that will give you an idea of some of the properties. I mean, everything from Castaway, Tom Hanks, and the Wilson Ball, all the way to Mrs. Doubtfire, Home Alone, Avatar. It's incredible. Like, these are all going to go to Disney, Marvel, Lucas film, and it's hard to imagine how this would even be allowed or approved because, God, I mean, we are inching closer and closer to a monopoly. What do I mean by that for those who aren't familiar with the term? Monopoly is not just a board game. Monopoly is when a business or an organization controls a large majority portion of the industry. So Microsoft is a good example. They own a huge majority of the home computer business, and not just on the software side, but also in licensing their Windows, right? So there are laws and there are processes and procedures in place to make sure that there is no monopoly and there is no antitrust and there is no sort of scheming to ensure that there is fair competition. And this happens a lot with telecommunication companies. Take, for example, Sprint and T-Mobile have been trying to merge for almost 2 years now, and the FCC will not let them without going through a rigorous process to ensure that it's going to be a fair market to us, the consumers, when we go to pick a cell phone. And that's just one example. This stuff happens all the time. And this is another example of that, where the studios are going to be swallowing each other up. By the time all is said and done, you're only going to have 2, maybe 3 studios making films every year. It's already bad now. There's only a handful of studios making movies. All the art house stuff and all the indie films, they don't really get the coverage that the big blockbusters do because of the buying power and the marketing machines that are behind the studios. So it's already a pretty sparse industry in terms of choices and competition. If this goes through, it's only going to get worse, you know? So just put in perspective. At one point, Disney was making films, Marvel Studios was making films, Lucasfilms was making films, and so was Fox. And those were 4 different studios producing movies that gave us an option when we went to the theater who we were going to give our money to. If this goes through, we just lost 3 competitors that all got gobbled up by the big House of Mouse. So there's a lot going on. It's still in the rumor phase. It's exciting for me to see Marvel, regain control of a lot of their characters, if not all. There's still going to be some outliers, like the Hulk is at Universal and Spider-Man's at Sony, but they regained creative control of both of those characters as long as they're not in standalone films, right? So a lot going on. It's still a rumor. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Do you even care? For me, it's kind of fun because I graduated college with a business degree, and to see the business aspect of the industry I love, mixed with the creativeness and the artistic portion of this industry, it's kind of fun for me to see the two work coincide with one another. I think it's fascinating, and that's a big part of my passion of film and the studio system, is just understanding that yes, it is an art. These filmmakers and these studios are creating art, but if it doesn't make money, we don't get more art. So it's kind of a give and take kind of love-hate relationship between those two different sectors of the same industry. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if, again, you even care. A lot of people may not even flinch, but for me, understanding monopoly and antitrust and all those things, it's not always the best thing to lose competition in a already sparse industry. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be notified of content uploaded regularly. You can find other movie news videos on the channel as well, where I dive deeper into that day's headline. So thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it, and I'll talk to you soon.